You're a cop. I did your job once. I was good at it. I know.
Hey guys, I'm Kevin,
I'm Jake.
and this is Movie Matters. Today we're talking about Blade Runner 2049 from 2017, directed by Denis Villeneuve. I love this movie. I'm obsessed with this movie. I think it's so awesome. I think it's a great sequel. Denis is one of my favorite directors of all time, and I think he did a killer job with making it amazing. And I think it's better than the first one, believe it or not. But that's just me. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, it's an awesome movie. They did such a good job of matching the tone, like in all aspects, to the original, and like building on it too. Which is like, I think, key to a sequel, and a really good sequel.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's definitely some strong competition between the two. I don't know which one I would pick as being better, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. It's from an '80s standpoint. I mean, we did the movie, and I feel like going through all this trivia on this movie. I feel like we barely scratched the surface on of that movie with
The original,
everything.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
But feel free to go back and take a look at that episode, and I'm sure we'll talk about it in this episode. But the first one, I just think gets a bad rap because a lot of people see Harrison Ford in it and they think it's an action movie, but it's a like drama, like detective noir,
Yeah,
like slow burn. And that this movie is that too.
right.
But it's definitely got more action. I mean, it's a significantly longer movie than the first one. And I ended up watching the first Blade Runner before I watched this one. Did you do that or no?
No, I didn't.
How many times have you seen this movie?
Maybe like 3 or 4 times. This was
Okay.
like the third or fourth time.
Okay. Did you see it in theaters?
I'm pretty sure I did.
Nice. Yeah, I remember seeing it in theaters. I remember going to the bathroom during like a scene, and like it's the fastest I've ever ran to the bathroom in my entire life because I was just like, I can't miss any of this. Yeah, I've seen this a handful of times, at least 4 or 5 times. I think it's just so well done. Again, Denis is my favorite director. Period. I think he is such a good cinematic. He just makes movies, and they're so damn good. And I know we were kind of having a debate. I don't know if we did this on camera or not. I think we did it off camera or off recording about Denis versus Christopher Nolan and who's the better director. I feel like I have been laying a lot of shit on Christopher Nolan. He's still an awesome director, but like again, Denis just to me makes such a movie. I don't know. Nolan is always worried about the psychological effects of it, or like trying to like mind fuck the audience, and it's like Denis just makes a movie. That's my thought.
Yeah,
And
I will say, like, I mean, because Nolan also writes a lot of his own movies.
yeah,
So there's that like element to it. I feel like that he has like an agenda, with his movies. Like, I don't
Yeah.
mean that in like a like he wants the audience to go through a certain experience.
Yeah.
Nolan does.
yeah,
Where I think all of, I mean, I've only seen maybe half of Denis' movies. I'm saying maybe half because I know that he actually has a much longer career than I think a lot of people realize. But like, yeah, his movies are just like good, super watchable, and like experiential kind of movies. Like, like even like we'll get into it, but like this movie doesn't have like a bunch of like crazy themes, and like it's not like, I mean it is a pretty like, like there is like some like deep aspects to it, but like that's not like, I would say that's not the primary goal. The primary goal is to make like a really kick-ass Blade Runner movie, and he did it.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot I want to talk about with that. And I was thinking about it too. It's like Nolan doesn't. The only sequels Nolan has made are the Batman movies.
Yeah.
He makes original movies. Denis makes sequels to some of his movies. Like, for example, I mean, this is a legacy sequel. He's going to make a James Bond movie, which I am so excited for, and I hope he does a great job. I don't think he has final cut, so I am a little worried in that regard. But
Amazon's
I'm sure
not giving like anyone final cut though, right? From, I think, like the part of the agreement when like they bought the rights was that like they always get final cut or something like that.
However, it's Denis, and I'm sure he's going to deliver something that's amazing. I'm just worried who's going to be the James Bond actor.
Yeah.
My vote is Theo James. I know we're going way off topic, but Theo James. That's my vote.
It should be absolutely someone that nobody knows. It should just be
I'm fine with that too.
Nobody knows.
I'm fine with that too.
Start from scratch. Nice clean slate.
Yeah, agreed. But like he's made Dune, he's made Dune Part 2, he's making Dune Part 3, which all those are awesome movies. They're so good. Like usually sequels suck, but like he's someone that's just like on his A game all the time and brings that A level talent with him. And this movie does that 100%. I mean, it has Ridley Scott as the producer. We've got Roger Deakins as the cinematographer, who we've mentioned in our past couple movie reviews. But I mean, I'll get right into it. Like I remember him going on this interview on record saying like he was fully aware of the immense pressure he was under, and how hardcore fans of Blade Runner view the prospect of a new movie. Like, I know that every single fan will walk into the theater with a baseball bat. Like they're all there to knock him down. And he's aware of that, and he respects that, and it's okay with me because it's art. Art is a risk, and I have to take risks. It's going to be the biggest risk of my life, but I'm okay with that. For me, it's very exciting. It's just so inspiring. I'm so inspired. I've been dreaming to do sci-fi since I was 10 years old and said no to a lot of sequels, and I couldn't say no to this film. I love it too much, so I said, all right, I will do it and give it everything I have to make it great. And I remember him saying that before the movie even came out, and I was like, that is awesome, and I know he's going to do a killer job. And seeing the trailer for it, as we watch before every episode we do, and include bits of it in our podcast, at least at the beginning. I mean, I remember watching that trailer being like, that's going to be sick. And like, I'm a huge fan of Ryan Gosling. I'm a huge fan of Harrison Ford. Just great actors, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you and I were big fans of Drive.
Yes.
And like, this is like a very fitting like follow up. I mean, this was like several movies later, but you know what I mean? But like, this is like such a good casting, I think, for Gosling in particular. Like,
yeah. And what's funny is like they asked Hampton Fancher, who wrote the screenplay basically, or like wrote the treatment for it, and wrote the other movie, the other Blade Runner. They asked him who they would see, like who he would see as K, and he said Ryan Gosling. And what's funny is Harrison Ford was like, "Oh, you got to get Ryan Gosling for this role," and the producers were like, "We know, like we're gonna get him." And he was like, "Oh, cool!" Like so, it's like coincidental that they all wanted him, and he was perfect for this role. I think he did really well. And speaking of Drive, I don't. Do we have that on our list? Is that?
No, but it should be.
It should be. I want to talk about that movie. We'll eventually get to it. I mean, so for Blade Runner, the first Blade Runner, it's notorious for the amount of cuts it has. And so what movie does this follow? Which cut? And I read that for Denis, there are two versions of Blade Runner. The theatrical cut is the story of a human being falling in love with a replicant, and the final cut is the story of a replicant that discovers its true identity. As for this movie, in Denis' own words, it is made from the tension between those two versions, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I have a lot.
I think I've only watched the final cut.
Really?
Yeah, because like if you look up like which one should I watch, you like most people are recommending the final cut.
I've seen the theatrical cut before. I got the 5-disc Blu-ray set way back when it came out.
Yeah.
Did I ever see the special edition Blu-ray set that they had that was in the Voight-Kampff briefcase?
No, that's cool though.
Oh, it was so sick. I wish I would have bought that. I bet that's worth some money right now. I'm gonna look that up. But it was a 5-disc Blu-ray cut in like a big, almost book of a case, and it had like every single cut, like the international cut, the theatrical cut. Like I'll have to look it up.
Does the theatrical cut have the narration?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think every other cut does not have. Or at least the director's cut and the final cut don't have any narration at all.
Correct. Here's the 5-disc, the Blu-ray set in the case. Oh, this is a DVD edition for $130. That's pretty cool. God, that's so cool looking. You should try and pull it up if you can. Show our viewers what we're talking about. Just type in like Blade Runner 5-disc collector's edition. So the 5-disc had 5 cuts. It had the final cut, the director's cut, the theatrical cut, the international theatrical cut, and the unreleased work print.
Okay.
I don't even think we talked about this in our... Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So cool. Yeah, really cool. I wanted that. I remember when it came out, but it was like expensive, and I'm like, I won't get it. Yeah. But I got the regular edition, and then obviously I bought the 4K. But super cool. And it's interesting because those cuts, Harrison Ford has always been like, nah, he's not a replicant. He's a human. I played him as a human.
He is like very steadfast that he is a human, which is interesting.
Yeah. So I mentioned a little bit earlier that this movie is a lot longer than Blade Runner. Well, how do you feel about the pacing? Do you think it's too long? Do you think it's worthwhile? Like, what do you think about the runtime?
Yeah, it is long. I don't, again, this is like, there's probably stuff that you could cut out, but it's very close to like when we watched Once Upon a Time in America, and both of us were like, I don't even know what you would like cut out. Cause like, this is a slow burn movie. It's a like sci-fi neo-noir, mystery thriller kind of, so everything is there to either like build tension or move the plot forward. So like, I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was like, you could cut out like all of the stuff with Joy potentially, but then I feel like you lose a huge like thematic element to the movie. So like
100%.
Yeah, it's not worthwhile. So yeah, I don't know. Like, I think its runtime is justified based on its content.
Yeah,
for sure.
Agreed. This movie didn't do super well at the box office. It's not like it did shitty, but I would say that was one of its faults, is that it was long. But like, that's also when movies, like now movies are so fucking long and everyone goes to see them for the most part. Yeah. Like back then, I feel like people were against longer movies. It's very interesting how the times change. But Ridley Scott,
because Marvel movies just kept stretching and stretching and stretching, then everybody was just like okay with it.
Yeah, agreed. Ridley Scott and Denis cited that the movie's length and slow pacing are the main reasons for its disappointing box office results. Scott felt that the movie was at least 30 minutes too long, although he admitted that he was partially to blame since he provided input to the screenplay. Denis said that while he's still proud of the movie, he realized afterwards that he had made the most expensive art house movie in cinema history and knew it would be a huge financial risk. He admitted that the running time and the marketing strategy that gave away minimal plot details may have scared audiences away, especially people less familiar with Blade Runner. The first one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the... So, yeah, I think the trailer is definitely for existing Blade Runner fans. But
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly smart that they didn't give away any of the plot points, because, like, the major plot points of this movie are, like, pretty important and, like, and kind of shocking, especially if you are a fan of the original. So, yeah, I don't know how else you would have marketed the movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed.
You know, like, I don't know. I feel like it's just like a, you know, we kind of talked about this in our original Blade Runner episode, but like, it's already a cult movie. You know, like, I think a lot of people know that it exists, but very few have actually watched it.
Yeah. Great point.
You know, so like, I feel like you're a little bit disadvantaged, you know, from the get-go making a sequel to that movie. I think they probably could have done this movie for cheaper and still made it really good.
Yeah.
But, you know, whatever. I don't know. It's epic and it's awesome. So, like, I think it's worthwhile. Or
I think
was
it's
a worthwhile risk.
Absolutely. I think it's a warranted sequel. I mean, you didn't necessarily need one, to be honest, but
No, it
it's
didn't,
cool.
but-
It's like they did it service, they did it right. But like also I think this movie is going to have a healthy like stint beyond its, you know, box office. I think it'll be looked at as a classic, a cult classic like the first Blade Runner, which is funny.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's got, like, absolutely, like, across the board, like, critical acclaim, too. So, like,
Oh yeah.
you know, it's one of those things where, like, I feel like it just didn't hit the mainstream, you know? I mean, probably for the runtime or just the subject matter is just not super familiar for people, but, like, I don't know, if you Google, like, best sci-fi movies, I'm pretty sure this comes up, you know, like, along with the original. So,
Yeah.
you know, like, people who are, like, searching for movies, I think will continue to find this, and
Agreed.
you know, get interested.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, it's so high rated, and it was nominated for 5 Oscars, and it won 2 out of the 5. It won cinematography Roger Deakins, which we've talked about him in our other reviews, like I said, with No Country for Old Men and Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford. And this is the first movie he won the Oscar for. And this was his technically, but prior to that, he had 13 nominations.
Yeah, it's
And he won for this movie, which he's iconic, and he's my favorite cinematographer ever. And I love anything he does for the most part. I mean, his lighting, he's a lighting genius. And in this movie, 100%, he is a lighting genius. Like, the level of detail and lighting in this movie is absolutely mind-blowing.
yeah. I was gonna say, like, I was gonna try and shoehorn it in somewhere, and this might as well be the place. The shot where Kay is walking through, like, the dust of Vegas, and it's like that, like,
Yes.
burnt out orange is, like,
Yes.
one of the coolest shots, like, ever. It's so good. It's so
That's-
well done.
That's the thumbnail for this video.
Yeah. And even the, like, the shots just of him, like, walking through, like, the city and, like, all the, like, neon drenched, you know, like, colors, like,
Oh, yeah.
splashed all over him and stuff are, like, so good.
Everything. It's like
when
It's
he's
mind
looking up
blowing.
at like the giant Joy advertisement,
Yeah.
and he's got like the blue and the pink like all over him and stuff. Like, yeah,
Yes.
it's such good use of lighting and
Oh yeah.
in
And like
camera work.
the like Neander Wallace's like headquarters with all the yellow
Oh,
and like
yeah.
the like orange light, the water reflecting off
yeah.
everything. It's like mind blowing,
So
mind
cool.
blowing. Yeah, like if he didn't win this Oscar for this, it would have been rigged. It did, and speaking of like visuals and everything, it won for visual effects as well, which is very well deserved. But it was nominated for sound and sound mixing, sound editing, and then production design, which it lost to The Shape of Water. Like how?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. That movie's like there's a lot of grime to it, and like I mean, that movie's just like that movie's Oscar baity. This movie is like
It is, yeah.
perfection. But speaking of Ryan Gosling and his character, again, I think he's great in this. His name is Kay, and he's got such a great character arc for a replicant, for a robot, and it's cool because I watched some of the special features of this on the Blu-ray, the 4K, and he's like, replicants are like second class citizens, and he hunts them and is a replicant. So he's like even below them, and that's why people like hate him in this movie because he
Yeah.
kills his like own kind or whatever. And it's interesting to see that dynamic, and he plays it well. And his slow growth to like from the bottom of the barrel replicant to like a human being, a human replicant, if you will, is awesome. And his journey through the movie is so great.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's genius that, the whole debate around the first movie is whether or not Deckard is or is not a replicant.
Yeah.
And this is like starts out and immediately tells you like, no, Kay is a replicant. So then
Yes.
like it completely like washes that debate away, but then turns the debate into, is he the child of a replicant, which is, I think, incredible screenwriting. Like,
Agreed.
such a good way to like flip that controversy into something, like very rewarding for fans, I think.
Yeah. Agreed.
And then, yeah, like, I mean, the way they establish his like place in society, where like, yeah, he's walking through the police station, and like one of the cops like spits at him and says like "fuck you,
Yeah.
Skinner" or like whatever,
Yeah.
and like it's written on his door, and
Yeah.
to his apartment and stuff. So like, yeah, it's like clear that like, not only is he a replicant, which is already a like stigma, but like, yeah, like you said, like he's a like, traitor to like his own kind, so yeah, it's like a particularly low place in society.
Yeah. And I love that they have this like baseline test for him. The cells interlink, a system of cells interlinked within cells within like interlinked within cells with it interlinked. I can't even do it.
Yeah.
And like Ryan Gosling came up with that, which is super cool. And it's cool how they use that as like, hey, like we want to make sure you're not feeling your emotions. And I love that. I think it's so cool.
It's kind of like an upgraded Voight-Kampff test.
Yeah.
Like it's a different system, which actually in the book, Deckard finds out that there's like multiple different tests, and each police department basically invented their own tests to like check for like replicants, which is
That's
kind
cool.
of interesting. So like,
Yeah.
it's another like nod, I think, back to the book that like, like that there's multiple ways, to verify a replicant's, existence, or in this case, like state of mind or frame of mind, which is kind of interesting. And like, yeah, I think the other really cool part is that I think Kay is a Nexus 9,
Yeah.
which is like 2 or 3 models above what Rachel was. I think she was
Yeah.
a 7.
Correct.
Which I think is cool that they like advanced the technology for this movie,
Yeah.
like quite a bit. Like, which obviously is like Wallace's whole, thing, like, is trying to get like the perfect, replicant that can basically do everything that a human can, including reproduce.
Yeah.
But then continue to like subjugate them as like a labor force instead
Yeah.
of,
Slave labor.
any other function in society. But yeah, I think the setup to this movie is like spectacular.
Yeah, agreed. It's funny you mentioned that because I had all mine like Nexus 8, Nexus 7, all that at the end of my notes. So I'll jump to at the end of my notes. But, so it's interesting because in the first Blade Runner, Deckard's going after the Nexus 6 replicants, and Rachel is a Nexus 7, like you said, where there really isn't mention of Nexus 7. Like, she's her own kind, and that's why she's special, and that's why she can procreate and get pregnant,
like,
which is crazy.
She's like the prototype of like the Nexus
Yes.
7, basically. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the movie starts off with him hunting down like the rest of the Nexus 8 models, with Kay in Blade Runner 2049 hunting down the Nexus 8 replicants, which starts with Sapper, who's played by Dave Bautista, and for the little scenes that he's in, he's awesome. And like Mariette, the prostitute played by Mackenzie Davis, she's a Nexus 8. Freyza, like the replicant, like up leader, if you will, she is a Nexus 8. They are a generation of replicants produced by the Tyrell Corporation shortly after the events caused by the Nexus 6 replicants in Blade Runner. The movie never mentions what Nexus 7 replicants are and what became of them. However, Rachel's serial number begins with N7, Nexus 7, and all the Nexus 6 serial numbers start with N6. The Nexus 7 series was hallmarked by implanted memories and the ability to procreate, but never went beyond a few prototypes, which included Rachel and a replicant called Isobel, who featured in the comic series Blade Runner 2019. At the start of the movie, all Nexus 7s are unaccounted for. So that's pretty interesting. Which brings me to Deckard. Again, we're kind of going into Blade Runner, the first one. Could Deckard be a Nexus 7? And the final cut, I would say, says that he is, because they say that Nexus 6s have about a 4-year lifespan.
Right.
And Rachel, being a Nexus 7, it's not clear whether she has that lifespan or not, especially with this dying in childbirth.
Yeah.
But like, it could be said that Deckard is the Nexus 7 with an unexpiring lifespan, if you will.
Yeah. So in the book, I think the 7s also have a 4-year life cycle, if I'm remembering right. But for sure in the movie, they never specify that, as far as what I can remember.
They did in one of the cuts of the first Blade Runner, and I think they say that Rachel only had a 4-year lifespan, from what I was reading. Because
I mean, it's one of the best arguments for Deckard showing up in this movie is that he's definitely not a Nexus 6. So he would have to be a 7, or he's a human. But like, I think the fact that he exists in 2049 and he's aged, I think kind of points to him being a human.
I think so too. And again, it's Denis playing that fine line of theatrical cut versus director's cut or final cut, excuse me. But yeah, in the voiceover narration, it says, I'm looking at my notes, he said that she had an open-ended lifespan and could live more than 4 years, which was not in the director's or final cut of Blade Runner.
Yeah, I mean, I think having Deckard be a human is a more compelling narrative line than him being a replicant. It's
Agreed.
like a human falling in love with a replicant, I think, is more special than two replicants falling in love, you know.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
But
Yeah,
I mean, that's neither here nor there for
yeah.
this movie. But
Yeah, I mean the I think it's cool that they put Kay in Deckard's like position in this movie, but like you said, make it clear that he's a replicant. And it's like, yeah, I just I don't know where I'm going with that. I like lost my place in my notes,
they
but
could have just had this be about Deckard as a 70-year-old, you know, like getting
Yeah.
dragged in again or whatever. But like,
Yeah.
I like how like Deckard is like the focus or like the kind of the focus of the investigation rather than the investigator, you know. Like
Yeah.
I think that's also a really really good screenwriting for a really good sequel.
Agreed. Agreed
'Cause,
100%.
even though the characters are the same, or that some of the characters are the same from the original, like it takes the whole thing and moves it in a new direction that's interesting, you know.
Yes. Agreed.
And also the introduction of Wallace as the antagonist instead of like Tyrell again, I think is super awesome, and making him
Yeah.
like a Bond villain is like super
Yeah.
awesome.
With a god complex.
Yeah.
Which is always a good villain in my opinion.
And like, you know, he's like the or he's a lot like Goldfinger, where like he's the main antagonist, but he doesn't actually do any of the things, you know.
Yeah.
Like he has a henchman that goes out and fights Kay and like
Yeah, in
causes
love.
the problems and
Yeah.
right, and then he just kind of, you know, exists as like the puppet master, you know, like trying to get things, you know, to go his way.
And I think it's cool how they use the same motif and theme with eyes in this movie as they do in Blade Runner. In Blade Runner, they have this like reflection, this glow in their eyes that makes them be apparent that they're a replicant, which you kind of see his glow in the final cut for Deckard. However, in this movie, the eyes are, again, a recurring theme. It's like, you know, with Neander Wallace being blind, like he can't see his creations, even though he uses these like little things to kind of see, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like that theme of just eyes, and even like the opening of Blade Runner is a eye,
Yeah.
and like the reflections of what you see, and then this movie also kind of has that as well in the beginning. It's just really cool stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think making Wallace blind is really cool. Like obviously you get his cool like interactions, or like his like whatever you want to call it, his like upgrades, where like he can like put his like special like chips in and like control the robots to like see, presumably like projecting that like into his like the cameras like into his head or
Yeah.
whatever, you know, which is like a really cool. Because like he himself is like kind of like an android then, you know, in some ways, or at least like a transhuman, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah,
But I think, you know, like it's also a very cool like metaphor of like his like blind ambition to like take over like the stars and like conquer like the galaxy or whatever, you know, that he thinks that he's going to be able to do with self-replicating androids. You know, and like I think that's where this movie does a lot of the really good like motifs and like metaphor, you know, to convey some of its meanings. And then like, you know, I'm sure we'll get to the overarching question of the movie at some point, but or we can just do it now.
do it.
Like the question in the original Blade Runner is, what does it mean to be human?
Yeah.
And that's kind of Roy Beatty's entire monologue at the end of the movie as he's dying, is like, what's the difference between, me and a human? Like, I feel
Yeah.
and everything, where like this movie, I think, takes it even a step further. And it's not just like, what does it mean to be human, but what does it mean to be alive? And I think the key there is Kay's interactions with Joy, who's basically an AI assistant, which has gotten like very eerily tangible, within the last couple of years. So like, yeah, it's like even more relevant now than it was when it came out, which is like mind blowing. But that all good sci-fi is, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it addresses this like much broader question of like what's deserving of like being labeled alive, right? Like,
Yeah.
and like what a replicant gives birth, is that thing alive? There's a lot of that type of question, I think, that's posed, and it's all indirect. Like, nobody's debating this like throughout the movie, but it's like something that's kind of like pushed to you as the viewer to contemplate throughout the movie, which I think is also a really good hallmark of good writing.
Agreed. I think there's like very subtle scenes that really help push that motif forward as well. And one is where Kay is in the office with his boss, his madam, and he's like, to be born is to have a soul. And I've never retired something that's been born before. And it's like, do I do that? And he's having these questions that are fundamentally human.
Yeah.
And it asks that question, like, do replicants have souls? And his, what's her name? Robin Wright, she like shoots him down right away. Like, it's a good thing you don't have one. What's that? A soul. Like, and like, you just see his face and he's just like, and walks out. And it's like that whole scene. And then Freyza, the like replicant leader, like her wanting to do this uprising because it's like, we are people. And that's kind of also a very small theme that is scratched, like the surface is just very lightly scratched in the first Blade Runner, that it's like they're slave labor and they just want to be free. It's such a very small theme in that movie, and it's expanded in this movie, which is great. And I think the whole, like, Kay becoming Joe, he goes from replicant to human, from serial number to an actual human being, in my opinion. And I think it's a great transition of him going through this experience and learning, hey, I think I'm this child. And it makes him start having these emotions. And it's awesome to see that. And I think there's a lot of scenes that, again, push that forward. For example, when he realizes that it could be him and thinks it's him, and his research to find that, and like that detective story to find that, and him having that dream of getting beat up and hiding this toy is so cool. And then him going to the like dream / memory maker in that like facility, which is super cool. And that like ties into the end, which I love. Like, she is in that like compromised bubble, if you will, and her being like, there's such subtle things that she says in the writing and in her dialogue of like, there's a bit of every artist in their work. And if you have authentic memories, you have real human experiences. And her telling Kay that these memories are real gives him that human experience, which is really cool, even though it's her memories.
Right. Well, and then his reaction to finding that out is like screaming, like, God damn it. And like,
love that scene.
Yeah. Like, it helps build that bridge, even though it's not actually, he's not actually, the child, but it helps bridge that like gap, of like going from the emotionless robot to the full-fledged human.
Yeah, and I think you see a lot of similar-ish characteristics kind of in Love as
Yeah.
well. With her wanting to be the best, and it's like she has this relationship with Neander where she is his sister, his wife, his mother, and or his daughter. Like she has all these relationships kind of combined into one, and she just wants to be the best for him. And it's like that emotion of like pleasing him, and it's just interesting. And she's kick ass in this movie. She's so awesome and she's so brutal. But her just like fighting for that is very cool. It's all about these replicants are always fighting for something, and that in itself is very human.
Yeah.
And like even Robin Wright, the Madam K's chief, is like, oh, little K fighting for what's right. That's cute, like,
Yeah.
and him making that decision at the end to do something human and go and do something for himself as opposed to following orders. That's human. And I love that sequence where he is seeing that joy advertisement and like finally realizes like, all right, I'm going to go do this because it's what's right.
Yeah.
And there's such a great turning point where he becomes Joe there. And I love that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, even going back to Love for a second, like,
Yeah.
there's multiple times where she actually like sheds a tear, like in reaction to something, which is interesting. It's like I think she's also a Nexus 9. I don't know if it's explicitly stated, but like,
I don't think so.
I mean, K is for sure, and like he's able to convey emotion, even if it's only fleeting. So like I think that's a very interesting detail that they add to her, like as she watches Wallace kill that one replicant that's like just born. She like she like drops a tear or two. And I think after she kills Robin Wright, she also has a tear or two. It's like she has this like cold, calculated kind of approach to like doing whatever she's been tasked to do, but there is like she's like fighting back, like the emotion, that like she's supposed to be feeling, which is a really, really interesting contrast to Kay also, who's like kind of letting his emotions like take over, where Love like actively seems to be suppressing them.
Yeah, and it's I watched some behind the scenes features on it, and Love, the actress that plays her, she's like, I played her like she's a 12-year-old, and that's kind of what we discussed. Like Denis and I, is like that's my capacity. I'm a 12-year-old, and that's it. That's like all I know. That's how I am. And there's one scene that particularly depicts that where she kills Robin Wright, and she's like, I'm going to tell Wallace that you started this, basically. Like, it's your fault.
Right.
And that's such a, like, it's your fault. It's not my fault type of, like, childish thing to do, which is interesting. But, yeah, I want to talk about Vegas and just, like, the design of that. So Denis actually went to Sid Mead, who did a lot of the, like, most of the designs and art department and concepts for the first Blade Runner. He went to Sid Mead to help design this. And I think they did such a freaking awesome job with Vegas. Like, that dirty bomb went off and like it's almost uninhabitable. And like it's just so cool. So cool.
Yeah, I mean, I like how they threw in, like, blink and you'll miss it kind of references to existing stuff. Like, you get, like
the Luxor pyramid,
of, like,
basically.
Luxor, but then there's, like, a bigger pyramid, like, exoskeleton that's, like, built over it, which is super cool. You get a flash of the MGM Grand sign as, I think, either the drone is, like, flying through, or, like, Kay's car is driving through. And then, like, the hotel that Deckard is living in is called like the Vintage, or something like that, and it's very reminiscent of like the Bellagio or like or even like the other Italian one,
Venetian?
the Venetian, yeah. Or even Caesars a little bit, like it's that
Yeah.
very like classical, kind of style and stuff.
Yeah.
And then obviously the fight scene during the like Vegas show, is like so cool.
The editing is incredible. Joe Walker did such an awesome job with
Yeah.
that.
And the sound in that too is just so good. Like the like blippy kind of like cutting
Glitchy,
in and out.
yeah.
And yeah, the glitches and stuff like and it's not too like jarring.
No.
Like they do a really good job of like they're not trying to like jump scare you in that scene, but it does build tension because like every
Yes.
time you're waiting for the next time that it glitches and the audio comes through,
Yeah.
and then that's when like Deckard kind of like jumps out of nowhere and like or takes a shot right after the audio cuts out again, like
Yeah.
they're kind of using those bursts as like cover to like move around and stuff. Like it's just really really awesome, well done.
Yeah. Harrison Ford actually hit Ryan Gosling in the face by accident during one of the takes, and he was like, "Hey, like I'm so sorry," like instantly apologized, gave him like he's like, "Let's have a drink of scotch," and then he mooned him. That's what I read, which is hilarious. But before, so I want to step back just a hair while he's going into, like he's exploring Vegas outside.
Mm-hmm.
He comes across these bees, and I read this and I thought this was awesome. So he sticks his hand in one of the honeycomb, like the honeybee housings, and when he slowly pulls it out, it's covered in bees, but they're not stinging him. This indicates that the bees were genetically engineered. Most likely with the help of Sapper Morton, who genetically engineered grubs, as shown at the start of the movie. Since there was no engineering farm with high-tech equipment depicted in this scene, as there was at Sapper's home, this would also indicate that the replicant honeybees are able to reproduce on their own. The honeybees are parallel to one of the main plots of the movie, genetically engineered organisms being able to reproduce on their own. Furthermore, the fact that they did not sting Kay's hand, he's a replicant, but is obviously going to be able to feel pain. He doesn't react in any way from the bees, indicating that they don't sting him. Also mirrors the concept of replicants not killing their own kind, or at least not intentionally or without good reason. Like, that's sick.
Well, and that also ties into the dog that lives with Deckard. And I think Kay asks him, like, is it real? And Deckard's like, does it matter?
Yeah. It's very cool. Very interesting. But like the whole like able to reproduce on their own. It's like life will find a way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Life finds a way.
So after Deckard and Kay finish their fight, which is awesome, they go and have a drink. Okay, have you done any research on that bottle of Johnny Walker that they have?
I think it's a black label.
Yes,
Yeah.
they sell that bottle empty on eBay for like anywhere from $200 to $600.
That's funny.
Empty. I wonder how much it is full. But they made a limited production on those, which is super cool. I think they only made like 39,000 bottles.
For
a
the
special
movie specifically?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
And it comes in like a Blade Runner box. I remember when they released it.
That's neat.
So, like if they ever come out, well, I mean, they are going to come out with a series, and we'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, it was a one-off. And what's cool is like he drinks and serves the same whiskey to Rachel in the first Blade Runner. The 1982's film had like their bottle was just a one-off. But it was a collaboration between Johnny Walker, master blender Jim Beveridge, and director Denis. they designed it together.
That's cool.
Which is super cool. Especially, I feel like you'd appreciate that with having Bourbon Matters, the other podcast that he does.
Yeah,
Check that out.
Where I can get one of those.
Take a look. Yeah, see if there's one that's full. Yeah, so it's apparently virtually identical to a double black label.
Okay.
Because of higher alcohol content. Yeah, if you look on go on eBay and pull that up and show the viewers what that bottle looks like. I mean, you see it in the movie, but still, it's crazy how much it's going for. Yeah, this is it's so cool. I'm gonna look while you're doing that to see if there's one for sale that's full. Yeah, look at that. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. Okay. So look at that. $1,000, $750.
Yeah,
I wonder.
$540 for an empty bottle.
Insane. I wonder if that's something you could buy and it be a collectible and appreciate in value down the road even more so. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You should do a Bourbon Matters, Movie Matters collaboration. Yeah, crossover, and we just do alcohol that's in movies and we try it.
Yeah, what's funny is we've watched, I mean, particularly, a lot of the Old West movies, every once in a while you'll get a real whiskey label thrown on something, It's I always kind of look whenever somebody's pulling out a bottle of whiskey in a movie to see what bottle they're
cool.
doing, Yeah, it's just fun.
Yeah, check out that Jake's podcast on that, and he does whiskeys, bourbons, all kinds of drinks, and it's a good time. So check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, I love getting back to Blade Runner 2049. I like that Deckard's I didn't want my child taken apart, dissected, and now that's kind of what's this movie is gravitating towards, in this race to find this story out. It drives the story forward, and and then they Deckard gets taken, and Kay is gravely wounded but gets taken by these next Sates and gets healed, and it's cool. That's when he meets Freza, who was the one that helped deliver and hide the child, and you find out it was a girl, and it's not Kay, it's the girl that does the memory making, and
which is such a good film noir twist.
Yeah,
agreed. This big build up, the whole time it's Kay's searching for the definitive confirmation that it's him, but all the evidence points to it being him, and then it's just the rug is pulled out in very unceremoniously, and then it's then he has the epiphany, and it's it's her,
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
And it's not many people, no one really knows who it is, though.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And then Freza says, kind of tying back to what I was talking about, Kay becoming Joe, is dying for the right cause is the most human thing you can do. Mm-hmm. And I think that's really cool. So also, I read that in the Bible, Rachel gave birth to Joseph, who was sold into slavery and later becomes an important patriarch of Israel. Joe is the name Joy suggests for Kay. So that's cool to see that story literally evolve with Kay. Mm-hmm. I love that. And I think Joy, what's cool is Joy, as the artificial intelligence that she is, pushes Kay to become Joe and to become a real human, which is ironic. And I don't know. I like you said, it's if the movie would cut that out, it wouldn't. I don't know. It's that's what helps push him forward too, is her.
Right. And what's really another instance of awesome writing. Like all of the marketing that we see of Joy like throughout the movie is that like she is what you want her to be, says what you want her to say, and like all these things. Like really, like she's one of the most human characters in the movie because that's what Kay wants, you know, which is like I think really awesome.
Yes.
And then she pushes that back on him, you know, and like kind of helps build up that you know, the dream of him being the child, you know, and becoming Joe.
Yeah, exactly. It's a theme of like human nature being naturally bad is like present. Like everyone's in it for themselves, and like it's everyone's bad. And like one of the most prominent references is how Officer K, a replicant, shows more purpose and emotion than all of the other humans throughout the entire film.
Yeah.
And then he even disobeys orders, showing him to be more human than the other humans, like we were talking about earlier in this movie. And it's like that theme of more human than human, which is the title of this episode. And and that's, you know, Tyrell's kind of slogan in Blade Runner for his replicants. But the action at the end where Joe/K decides to go after and save Deckard, and even though it's like he's kind of ordered to kill him by Freyza. It's like, you need to kill Deckard. But he's like, no, I'm going to make this decision for myself. Like, again, I'm not going to follow orders. I'm going to be human. And him going after and like him shooting down those spinners, and then shooting like the driver, and then fighting Love and winning is so, like, that whole sequence is so intense. The action is so awesome. The set design is so sick. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, and like, you know, the violence in this movie is fairly sparse, and it's very impactful when it happens.
Yeah.
You know, like he drowns her for like what seems like close to like 5 minutes on screen. You know.
Yeah.
And like, but like it's one of the more like it's the only time where he's not shooting someone to kill them, you know. So like it should be intense and it should have weight, you know. Especially that it's, you know, his like primary rival in the movie, you know.
Yeah, it's like a machine using a machine to kill people throughout the movie, and then it's a machine being human using his hands to kill her. It's very symbolic too. That's awesome.
Right.
Yeah, that, God, it's so good. And like the soundtrack by Hans Zimmer and Benjamin Wallfish is so sick. The whole like
perfectly
I haven't
evokes like the original Vangelis soundtrack,
Yes.
but like, you know, modernizes it enough, you know, but like still keeps that like 80s synth vibe, you know. It's awesome. It's so good.
So well done. I think anything Hans Zimmer does is incredible.
Yeah, he's
the fact
best.
that dude doesn't have more Oscars is wild than he does already. I think he only has like one or two. I think he won for The Lion King. Let me see. Yeah, he only has two. And it was The Lion King, and then he won for Dune Part 1. I didn't know that. I forgot.
I mean, The Lion King's good.
That's what it shows.
But like there's been like 20 bangers like between The Lion King and Dune.
Oh, yeah.
He's
My
scored,
God.
so like what the hell, you know?
Yeah. Insane. I mean, that guy makes gold every time he makes a soundtrack. Yeah, I think another thing I love about this movie is that, the ending, I love the ending with Joe/Kate, you know, dying in the snow, and it's like the Tears and Rain, and it's got the Tears and Rain theme with the music, which is super awesome. Deckard goes and meets his daughter. I love that ending so much. You don't know the fate of Neander Wallace, which is very interesting.
Yeah, but I think it's also fitting because like
it wasn't really about stopping him either.
Right.
That's not the story.
Exactly. And like,
Yeah.
again, like this is like a film, or it's like a neo-noir movie, and like sometimes in noir movies the bad guys get away, and because it's not necessarily about
Yeah.
the bad guy, it's about something else,
The corruption.
yeah.
That's Chinatown, Jake.
Yep. What are you gonna do? Shit happens.
Yep. I also love that, and again, the special features on this movie, I highly recommend watching them if you haven't. This movie won for best visual effects, but Denis was all about, I need to make everything as practical as possible. Real sets, tangible items. There was like, I was trying to write it down, and he was just talking so fast. It's like, I need real environments, real props, because those environments will trigger ideas, will trigger shots, will inspire cinema, is what he said. And I was like, oh my God, my mind is fucking blown, because that's the epitome of him. It's like, it inspires cinema. Like, he is cinema. You've seen the memes, absolute cinema.
Yeah.
He is that. He is that.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, everything that matters in this movie is practical.
Yeah.
And there's CGI filler, but like everything that's like everything that should be tangible which is, I mean, obviously, like, there's like digital things like Joy, but like you can tell how much of this movie is practical, and like and like, again, like, perfectly fits with the original Blade Runner, which is one of the reasons why we love it so much, is because it is like entirely practical. And like it just has like such a better feel, like when it's not just a big green screen, like, especially in a movie like this, that's like, and this movie is all about the visuals and like the conveyance of this world. So yeah, it definitely helps it, I think, having as much of that practicality as it does.
Yeah, like watching the special features, like the props that they're using, the age of certain things that they do. Like, every character in the background in this has like some sort of breathing apparatus, which, because of like pollution and like all the dust and all this, like, it's so cool. There's so much attention to detail, and I think that's, again, what sets Denis apart from other directors, is his attention to detail and hitting that at like the highest level you can possibly hit. And he fucking nails it every time, and that's why he is my favorite director. He just, it's like, his movies blow my fucking mind. It's like, how the hell did you make that? Because that's incredible, and that's what a good movie is, and an amazing movie is in my mind. It's like, wow, like I'm blown away. Like I just get sucked into the world. I just get enveloped by this world that's created, and that's all created by the director for the most part, and obviously all the production designers, the actors, all that. But it starts at the top and works. It flows down, and he is just the cream of the crop, in my opinion.
Yeah, another good example of that, and particularly I think the attention to detail, is the scene where Joy and Mariette like sync up.
Yes.
And like, I mean, I don't know how they
shot it practically and like layered it on top of each other.
That's kind of what I thought. It was like actually like film on film, kind of thing. 'Cause it looks that way. And like the way that the movements are like so well synchronized, but like just synchronized or just desynchronized enough that it becomes like believable,
Yeah.
It's just such a good sequence.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, the whole movie is just, again, it's an A+. It's one of my favorites. It really is. I'm so happy we watched it. It's great. I can't say enough good things. I need more people to watch it.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add? I'm pretty much out of my notes, and I've said most of what I want to say, if not all of it.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we hit everything. It's a phenomenal movie, and
Yeah.
I think you really nailed it. Like, I think both of us wish that more people would see it because it is so good.
Yeah, it is. So hopefully you watched the movie and you enjoyed this review. There's a lot of cool behind the scenes trivia that we mentioned, and a lot of cool thematic elements to it. And again, Denis is just a master filmmaker, and I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Next week we got one of our favorite resident directors as well, John Carpenter with Escape from New York. You've never seen that, right, Jake?
No.
Okay.
I'm excited.
All right. Yep. We got that next week. So hopefully everyone else is excited. I am for sure. I haven't seen it in a long time. I think I've only seen it once. So
I love Kurt Russell. So
yeah, anything with Kurt Russell, especially in the 80s. We're getting into the 80s again. So throwback to our alma mater, if you will. But we appreciate you guys listening. Please like, subscribe, check out Jake's podcast, Movie Matters. Check out our prior episode on the original Blade Runner from 1982. And we'll catch you next week with Escape from New York. Thank you, guys.
see ya.
Later.